inspiration, motivation, and encouragement is brewing. Welcome to the Tea Time with Tan podcast, where you experience innovative solutions and creative ideas designed for your colossal dream success. Let's sip. Here's your host, Tan.
Hello, and welcome to the Tea Time with Tan podcast show. I'm your host, Tan Tate, and today I'm excited because in the studio, backed by popular demand, I have a co-host today, and it is the one and the only Mr. Tate. That's right, let's give it up for Mr. Tate. I'm so excited to have him here. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat. Who told you to clap for yourself?
Me. I'm my favorite brand.
I'm your favorite brand. Now make a correction.
You're my second favorite brand.
That's all right. Long as I'm favorite, I'm okay.
You're my favorite.
I'm so excited to have you in the studio today, honey. We always start off by giving you an opportunity to get it together. We like to welcome our first-time listeners. And in this 60 seconds that we give you, we ask that you clear your mind space, get in a good place where you can receive the tea that is about to be served. Because our goal is that it is inspiration, that it is motivation, and that it is encouragement for you. So let's go and get ready to receive the tea. While we do that, I need to give Mr. Tate a few rules because he seemed a little bit out of control today. All right. We're going to get started with today's episode. And welcome to episode 3 of the Silent Brand Killers, What Lies Beneath. Now, previously in episode 1 and 2, we're uncovering the word lies. And if you know me, you know I love acronyms. So the L represents lazy or a lazy mentality. The I represented the insecurities or insecure. And today we're going to talk about the E. And the E represents everyone else. I want you to think for a moment. Have you or either do you know someone, whenever something is going on, it's always everyone else? It's not ever themselves. They're never looking at themselves. They can always find that it's everyone else. They can see everyone else and not see themselves. Well, today, our goal is to tell you the importance of a good foundation. And then we want to also provide you with best practices and tips to help you build on that foundation. We're going to talk about accountability so that you can know that it's not everyone else, but the mentality of everyone else is actually working against you and your brand. So, Mr. Tate.
Yes?
Are you sleeping over there?
No, I'm not. I'm just waiting patiently.
Okay, good deal. Keep waiting. But I do have a question for you right now.
I'm waiting.
Don't cut me off now, Mr. Tate. This is my show. Now, you don't... this is my show.
Yes, it is.
Okay, don't have me call security. Mr. Tate.
Yes?
Oh, you found that funny, huh?
No.
Okay, it's all good. I have a question for you.
Okay.
Do you like horror movies?
Yes, I do.
Now, in a horror movie, which I, by the way, don't like, but typically I see a repeat plot.
Uh-huh.
Where usually there's someone that dies right away. I mean, the killer, Jason, or what's the Friday the 13th? Freddy, Jason, Chucky, whoever they are. They get to him right away, immediately. It's like the opening credits come up and then you see somebody's already gone. But then there's always someone that makes it to the end. They know how to defeat the killer. Now, which character are you?
I'm the one to make it to the end.
Really now?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Mr. Tate, please make it to the end of this podcast show.
I will, or this will be the last.
Oh, I love you, Mr. Tate.
I love you as well.
Okay, now back to our topic at hand. We're talking about creating a solid foundation so that you can build upon, so that it's not everyone else.
Sure.
Mr. Tate, what's your take on everyone else?
Well, my late great pastor, William T. Pree, he used to preach a sermon called Lost at Home. And basically it was based off of the prodigal son. How the prodigal son, we all know, went out and squandered all his money and ended up sleeping with the pigs and eating slop and everything. And when he came back home, his father seen him from afar and he said, my son has returned. Give him the finest robe, give him a ring, and kill the fattest calf. And when his second son seen that this was happening, he went to his father and said, Dad, why are you doing this? Why are you killing the fattest calf? Why are you giving him the finest robe? Why are you giving him the ring? And he haven't done anything. He just went and squandered all his money and everything, and he wasn't here to take care of nothing, and he done had all his fun, and I'm the one who's been here doing everything. While you couldn't do it, I had to do it. So why are you doing this for him? And his father just looked at him and said, son, you were the one is here. He did go out and squander all his money and everything, but look around. Everything is yours. Everything you see is yours. And the father was rich. So the second son, he went away mad, and that's what looking at everyone else does to you. You don't see what you have right there in front of you. You don't see the riches that you have. You don't see the fact that you have progress and went forward in your brand, as opposed to looking and just being stopped because of what someone else is doing. You can't do that. You have to constantly look ahead. Be the one at the end of the movie that kills the killer instead of being the one that dies. And stopping and standing still is going to kill you faster than you living at the end of the movie. Anything stagnant dies. If you have a pool of water, as long as that pool of water has air or some type of way it can flow, it's going to live. But once that pool of water doesn't have no oxygen or anything like that, it's going to die. You don't want to be stagnant and looking at someone else and looking at what they're doing, hoping that you thinking that, I wish I could do this and like he did, or do that like he did. God bless the child to have his own. Don't put your mind and take time to look at that. Look at yourself and constantly keep it pushing.
Wow, Mr. Tate, that was an awesome analogy, because the brother, the one that stayed, he was so busy looking at the other brother, and for this episode we'll call the other brother everyone else. He missed what he had right in front of him.
Yes.
So oftentimes, if you're not focusing on you and things to improve your personal brand, who you are, building upon your foundation, because God created you to be greatness, then you may be that character that dies right at the opening credits of the movie. So we want to give you some steps in accountability, because that's what it really comes back to. How are you accountable? The first step one, is we're asking you to see it. When you see that you're getting off track and you're noticing that you're starting to focus on everyone else, acknowledge it. Don't just pretend that it doesn't exist.
Step back and look at yourself. Look at what you have. Look at what you've accomplished.
Absolutely. Deal with the elephant in the room. And like Mr. Tate said, take a step back. Do a self-check of you and the things that you have accomplished. What's your brand? What's your purpose? What's your destiny? So we want you to see it. And then whatever you see, we want you to own it. And when you own it, that means that you're looking at the responsible parties. Be sure to include yourself instead of making everyone else responsible. See, the brother tried to make his brother responsible for him not enjoying the benefits of his dad being rich. But it was because he refused to see that it was him. It wasn't everyone else. So make sure you own it. And then once you own it, solve it. Come up with a solution. Now, what can I do to prevent me from seeing everyone else? You know, I always talk about having that vision statement, having that mission statement. Those are pieces of guidance that hold you accountable to what you should be doing, what you should be living. And then the fourth thing is to do it. Whatever your solution is for you, not everyone else, do it. Take action. Be responsible for your brand. Build on the foundation that you have. Mr. Tate?
Yes, and also don't be scared to forgive or ask for forgiveness. A lot of times, you know, God said David was a man after his own heart, and that's because David didn't mind asking for forgiveness. Remember, if you do something to someone that makes them mad at you, or you have done or someone do something to you and that makes you act a different way than what your brand stands for, which is integrity and character, because of your actions of being in a derogatory manner, ask that person for forgiveness. The forgiveness isn't for him. The forgiveness is for you. You have to own that. You know what I'm saying? That you acted that way, or you offended that person in that manner. And by asking for forgiveness, your side of the street is clean. No matter if they accept it or not, that's okay. As long as you ask for forgiveness, your side of the street is clean.
That's real good, Mr. Tate. So in closing, we want to encourage you to own your brand. Stop looking at everyone else, whether it be you looking at them for the reason you're not thriving in your brand, or if you hating on them. Just stop doing it. Go back to your foundation, your core. And that's why there's a word out there called rebranding, because you have the opportunity to re-image your brand as many times as it's necessary so that you can thrive in your brand and not be a victim of the silent brand killers. And I also want to give you some best practices along with those steps. If you haven't created your mission statement, be sure to create a mission statement. Be sure to hold yourself accountable. And be sure to reward yourself. You know, oftentimes we go about and we're praising everyone else. We forget to praise ourselves. So when you've done something like Mr. Tate mentioned a few minutes ago, you know that you got outside of your brand. That's not your true character, your integrity, or your core. And you've gone and you asked for forgiveness, or you've given forgiveness. It's okay to say, you know what? I did good in that moment. I got off track. Now I'm back on track. So let me pat myself on the back and find ways to reward yourself. I'm hoping I get a reward at the end of this podcast show.
I'm getting one. I'm getting me a steak because I'm being rewarded for speaking with you guys. Yes.
Who cooking?
See, I got her tongue-tied again, y'all.
Yes, you can have a steak, all that you want. And in closing, the last best practice, make sure that you emphasize your strengths and improve your opportunities. Like after listening to this broad podcast and you've identified some opportunities within yourself, maybe some cracks in your foundation. Maybe you were looking at everyone else. Maybe you've been the son that remained and you're looking at everyone else and you missed what you had within yourself. go back and do anew. In other